Hi, guys. Welcome to this conversation. It's about politics, governance, and leadership in Kenya and in Africa. This is my first video, and of course, I'll be doing more going forward. Today, I would like us to begin by discussing this topic or other conversation that has been introduced by FAFI Member of Parliament, the Honorable Salah Yakub, who is or has indicated that he will be introducing a motion in Parliament, National Assembly, to be specific, seeking to remove the presidential term limit. Now, the Honorable Yakub has indicated that that motion has the backing of UDA members. I do not know about other Ivy parties that form Kenya Kwanza, that is ANC, Ford Kenya, a Bar of Amason Kingi, Maendeleo Chap Chap of Alfred Mutua, UDM, and many other parties that form the Kenya Kwanza coalition. But assuming they also support that, then Kenya Kwanza is likely to push this through. Because considering a few things that happen in Parliament, including bribery, persuading members, and all sort of things that happen, they might push this through and amend the constitution and remove that presidential term limit. But that's not the main point, because this is not even about Honorable Yakub. This is about President William Ruto and his leadership. And it's important that he addresses this matter, because it has nothing to do with the person who is sponsoring it. Whoever is sponsoring it might not even benefit so directly. It is the president is going to benefit, if at all it's going to be introduced in Parliament. Now, here are the reasons why Ruto must address this matter. Number one, he is the president, and the country is currently in the throes of a storm. Never before has a country been hit by so many crises simultaneously or concurrently, like it's happening today. We have just come out of the COVID-19 pandemic, which is, of course, was a global issue. We are still yet to recover fully. Drought is hitting us hard. Over 20 counties are facing drought. The economy is not doing well. We are in a crisis. The cost of living is high. People are dying. We're losing livestock. The conversation that this country should be having at this point in time should be about how to protect life, how to protect our people from dying, how to revive our economy, how to address the issue of unemployment, how to deal with drought, and corruption. But when you have a member of your team who barely 2 months after election is thinking about removing a presidential term limit as a priority in the middle of all these crises, and then you have a joker in a supporter. The suggestion, the proposal by the Honorable Yakub is giving Kenyans a perception of who William Ruto is, of what Kenya Kwanza stands for. It is telling the country, or he is telling the country, that Kenya Kwanza stands for power, that William Ruto is power hungry. That's why the president should respond and tell that honorable member that there are serious issues he is focusing on and is not interested in extending his power. It is too early. In fact, if this conversation was introduced when William Ruto was serving his second term, perhaps we would have understood. But this is premature. So that honorable member should be told off that juvenile, extemporaneous roadside declarations are not allowed at this point in time. Number two, and this is equally important, in the run-up to August general election, there was this perception about William Ruto. The critics said it, that William Ruto might not relinquish power, that he might deploy the old political playbook of his political mentor, the late President Daniel Arap Moi. They looked at his brazen style of politics, his aggressiveness, and felt that he was too temperamental to be president, and that he can decide to do away with the term limit. There was that discussion. There was that fear. And now, when a member of his team introduces this conversation, and considering that perception is still ringing in the minds of many Kenyans, many people may conclude that, oh, so these critics were right. Even those who supported him will start reimagining, will start rethinking their position. And if that happens, the president will lose that public trust. And therefore, we must address it personally. I've heard the likes of Itumbi, Bone Halwale, Johnson Mudama trying to respond, and many others, but it's not enough. This is about the president, must respond to it, must clear the air. Number three, the president has been in good terms with the judiciary, let me say so. When he was sworn in that evening, he appointed the 6 judges who had been rejected by former President Uhuru Kenyatta. He promised them that he will operationalize, or rather, he will be remitting the judicial fund and supporting the judiciary to be independent and to carry out its functions independently. Recently, I think on Friday, last week, he was in a meeting with the judges, the judiciary, when they were launching a report, an assessment report, and he praised the judiciary for being independent, and he asked them to cooperate with him or his government, administration rather. It's a good thing, and the president might be having very good intentions. But when you start having this conversation about amending the constitution, yeah, and then Kenyans will start looking at it differently. Is the president courting the judiciary so that when time is right, he will introduce this bill knowing that because he has captured the judiciary, whatever Kenyans do, he will have his way. Because if Parliament passes the bill, the motion, the amendment, the only recourse, the only other option Kenyans will have to stop it is through the court. But if the president has captured the court, then Kenyans will be denied justice. And that is why, if the president does not address this matter, Kenyans will connect the dots for themselves. They might be wrong, but they'll connect the dots. And perception is everything in politics. Once they connect that dots and say, okay, the president is supporting the judiciary because he wants to achieve this, then they will lose trust in the judiciary. So the judiciary will lose public trust, and the office of the president will also lose public trust. And once that happens, now we go to point number 4. The opposition will become stronger. They will get a voice. Of course, they have a voice. But now they'll have a very solid agenda to push. And Raila is very good at that because he has been trying to do something, but it's not, he has been like doing try and error. But this one will give him a platform and will give William Ruto's government lots of problems. That's why he should not allow the opposition to have the agenda by addressing that matter and distancing himself from it. Those are my views on this. I know you also have your views. What do you think? Share your comments and let's keep the conversation going. Thank you. My name is Masono Mabonga.